find our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas and we have wonderful guests. And today I have a favorite guest of everyone that people are happy to hear from, and we will see where Jenny Lee thinks things are at right now. Hi, Jenny.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Well, I'm exhausted.
I think everybody can relate to that. Emotionally, physically, and otherwise, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hopefully in the future we don't need any sleep, so that'd be great,
Yeah, that's what they say. I that would be kind of nice, wouldn't it? Because
yes, it would, and just being worn out would be, yeah. So it's like I was telling you, this is probably the first day I've been home working at my house on my farm for like a month and a half. Like I haven't been here because I've been so busy, and I just said to Spirit was like, you need to just be at the farm today and do work from there and just have, be outside a little bit. So, because it's just been nuts, and I'm, me, I like to help in each individual, but I'm getting overwhelmed by a lot, and I'm still, I'll keep going and going until I get everything done. So that's just the way I am. But yeah, it's so I think when we come to a halt on the internet and everything, I think that 4 or 5 days of peace of being in nature,
EMF, yeah, that should be kind of
a rejuvenation stage of things.
Well, we got somebody from St. George saying hello and giving us a compliment, and so I want to bring it up there. And she said she loves the programs and she loves you, Jenny. Thank you for all the time and information. And I love St. George. That's a lovely city. I've been there a couple of times, just passing through, or I have a bank there, as a matter of fact. So anyway, or I did. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with it, but anyway. So thank you for those comments. And Jenny, what do you think of what's happening? We seem to have a lot of fire.
Well, what direction do you want to start in? I mean, that's the whole thing. I'll tell you the massive confusion that, when people knew that this process was going to happen, they didn't think about the fact when you go back to Vietnam War and how war actually is affected, you're fighting over a territory, and someone's going to win. And that's this thing in Maui. Like I said, I've been telling the people that I think the White Hats were underground, and I think the other ones were on the top of the ground and fighting over a property. And they don't care. They don't care about casualty. They don't care about taking them down. And I'm talking about, I think there was a threat, and I kept hearing and telling people, like, they hear in my mind, they're like, if we can't have it, no one will. And that's their attitude. So I think all these fires that you're seeing there, it's territory areas. And so you need to watch what happens after the fire, each area of connecting the dots with the situation of resistance, because you can't just keep putting fear. Like, if you do that, if you do this, or you try to take this area down, we're going to hurt your people or do bad things to your people.
Exactly. It too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a ploy. It's the way they do things. But we're at a point, I can tell you, society is like, no more. We're tired. We're done. We've had it. So we're on this planet, we're at this different veil of understanding that we're like, there's nowhere to go. There's no more leverage to go. Everybody's ready for whatever is going to happen with the situation. It's unfolding in that process.
So you think that this type of thing will continue until
No, okay. I want you to think about areas. Remember, I told you that Democrat cities, it's going to
Yeah.
push them into an area. Remember, we're doing the same thing. You know, you're kind of going in a circle. You're in the line of fire, and there's resistance going on. That's what's happening. So we're at that phase, and so you can decide that the media can tell you what's going on, or you can. I tell people, wait about 4 days for the truth to surface, what's really happening in those areas. You know, as humanity is just at their last level of saying, we're done. We've had it. We don't care. They care, but what I'm saying as in, you've already drawn the line and there's something inside us that like, it's go time. Sorry. You know, we're going to win.
That gave me.
We might get hurt.
Yeah.
We might get harmed, but there's no easy way to get around it. And I actually think, you know, what these warriors have done to, you know, working on this process for a long time is they've tried to avoid everything they can, but we're at this stage that we can't
wait anymore.
You have to go through this. And that's why I tell people you have to be at this strong moment in time, because that's why I tell people, look at where these fires are, you know, the consistency of things happening. And like I've said, you know, I'm going to be careful, but the island off of the coast of California, I did a map on Instagram about that small island that Hollywood and all of them go out to. It's only about 25 miles drive to it. And I believe that you're going to see the same thing of Maui. But remember, I did tell you about these islands flipping and turning over, and some may disappear and some may not. And how the plates and how our earth is shifting and changing. So some things may be there one day or they may disappear. So we're in the fight of good and evil now. We're soaked in it now, and there's no turning back, and there's no stepping back and resisting. It's
and losing is not an option, because it'll be the end of humanity.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah. And so, and I don't believe that's going to happen.
I don't either.
About the emails.
It's like we're being brought right to the brink.
Right. And maybe like anything with spirit, there's that lesson in front of us. And we don't understand why we're in it. We don't know why we have to go through it this way. But at the end of it, and how it is portrayed, and how we can look back and learn from it, and that is when we understand it in a different way. And that's what we're going to do through this, because through this, it's really going to pull our world together, side by side, brother and sister, no matter what color or race or religion. They're just going to be like, we're going to stand together. That's what they didn't want. And so we're at that phase that I tell people there's something inside of you that resides, that there's strength in you. And I mean, in the way of how you were born and how you were created, there's a survival mechanism that's in you that a lot of people don't think they have, because we've been so codependent on the system, but it's there. You just have to be put in a situation of that survival mode, and you're going to be tested in that way.
I feel like I went through all that already.
So, like I tell people, brush off the dust, because you got another round coming, you know.
Yeah.
So take a deep
Well,
breath, hold
without,
yourself.
oh, okay. Hello. I didn't mean to do that. Somebody said something about the sound. I don't know what, I'm not
Sound is
having any problem with any sound. Um, so you have to be more specific. It says Christy Abel said there is no sound. Oh, yes, there is. You might have to turn up your own computer because I hear Jenny just fine and she hears me too. Don't you, Jenny?
yeah, that's fine on
Yeah.
this side.
Okay. See, other people are saying it was okay. It was okay. I get it. Yeah, stuff like that happens. So, moving right along, I was told, or I've read, and I've heard, I seen a little short TikTok short by Alex Jones, and there is information out there that they are getting ready to try to run another round of the same thing that we went through.
Impossible.
They're gonna try though.
It won't. I got to tell you, it won't happen. I'm telling you, I've seen the people and I know them well, of the type of veterans, and I'm just telling you, they're at the end of saying, "Let's go to war," and I mean war.
All out.
So anybody that tries to stand in that way, whether it's police departments or state, they will be mowed over. I can tell you because I see it, and the thing is, I see it in their face, and I know they're at that point.
It's definitely enough is enough. We're not taking any more.
Right.
And you're not pushing us to do things that
And
we
you're not,
know are not in our best interest.
I mean, there's to be that stupid to think that that process is coming when they've already come out that that is a bioweapon.
Yes. Did you hear about what happened in Florida
What?
regarding that? There was
No.
a county in Florida that had passed some legislation that would start in the county, and then they're trying to take it to the state level. And they came right out and said in that paperwork that it was a technological and biological weapon.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard for people to accept that something like that is in their system.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
can
hard.
understand that. Somebody is asking what an NPC is. NCP, I mean. No, it's NPC, I think. Non-person character is how I interpret that.
The thing is, well, I couldn't even tell you what's the reference of that because I don't pay attention to all the.
Okay. Well, that's what I've heard
normal.
from other people, that just means that people that aren't real people. They're not real.
Oh, okay. So I would call them organic systems or
Androids.
Yes. So I already, I think I kind of clarified that. That would be like, I only think there's 35% left in the natural human mechanism of us. And then I believe that there's a lot of programs and organic systems, and then I believe there's some of them, there's just no soul there too.
Yeah. And there isn't with clones. I mean, we have a lot of different beings that we are seeing. We see CGI or holograms, and that looks very real.
Right.
Then you have the lookalikes, and you can look and they go, okay, I guess that's him, kind of, or her. And then
they don't have any wrinkles either, and they're not flush with colors in their face. They're very pale looking in a different way of, there's no texture or how a normal face looks or how it gets in the sun, or you got to pay attention to that. I mean,
yeah. And then we have the people that have masks on, and you can see
right.
a line there, or they've taken pictures of people's ears and all kinds of things.
I get a smell with those ones that I don't like.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
It's a sulfur salt smell, and it's just got a. Ugh. So
I heard that's reptilian. They smell nasty. I don't know if we're supposed to say that, but anyway. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just definitely I don't know, because like I said, I'm a seer. When you see through things, and that's the first thing. I don't look at I sense the soul first. If it's there, if it's not, and then I analyze, well, okay, this isn't right in this process and who this person is. So
So when you see this, Jenny, how do you actually see it? I mean,
well,
what visual do you see? If you can
so the
explain.
thing is just I've been born like this, where it's just when you look at someone, your perception goes to the outer shell. Well, my perception goes right into the energy right quick. So, and that's why a lot when I was young, it was very quiet because my brain was just processing the information, processing the information. So I see the inner um, energy, and whether it's there or if it's not, or if something is hollow, if something is heavy and dark, and then it makes an image in my head. And so my mind's describing this image, and then your own body or your own spirit is interacting with that, deciding whether it's good or bad. So it's just weird. And animals are that way too, where when I started with the animal communication, the thing is some people, when they just see an animal, they just see an animal. And people that are open to seeing more than the animals are quick to show their energy and their communication. They don't realize that they're getting a communication that others are not. So it just feels like this download of information about that soul is instant, constant, all the time. And that's why I say I'm always processing information all the time on a consistent basis, and that's the thing about it. So, and that's why sometimes people, when I do shows, I'm channeling some information and trying to say it the way they say it, but then there's 3 conversations of describing it sometimes. So it's kind of hard sometimes. So that my tone and vibration, how I say it sometimes changes. So, but it's my normal of how it comes out, and I describe it in that way. So it's literally seeing through stuff, literally not seeing as a body, seeing as a soul, seeing as levels of a filter, things that are negative, and how it looks like a dirty fog, and it's gross feeling, and then how the light is like a more of a light lifting frequency that follows through and is very uplifting. So I mean, there's all kinds of ways that they describe it to me, and that's the thing. I mean, you have your intuitive people, you have your mediums, but I literally see through stuff in a different way.
Someone is asking you if it's a good time to buy property.
I would wait about 2 months.
Somebody else is
asking. Really change.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody's asking about when will the main church in Utah be exposed. There was a little bit of exposure on a show I did yesterday, but not significant. I actually am surprised more people didn't want to know about it, but I had a woman on, Jenny, that had her child was kidnapped, and she was fortunate enough to get her back. But
yeah, I been in front of those soulless beings, and they're completely submerged in ego, and in their prophesizing, and then their righteousness, and I think it's all religions that's coming down, because each part of each religion shares secrets, and they all are part of that secret society of sharing those secrets, and that's all going to be seen for the truth, and that's what they want to hide, covet, not talk about, don't bring it up. So it's going to be slowly lifting the veil one by one and seeing the documentation.
on all the, and this is going to be all the churches, really, isn't it?
All
Just
of them.
about.
No, it is all of them. And this is the thing. This is the thing I tell people. The church got in the way of your connection with Creator. It was never supposed to be in the way. But they decided that man themselves were going to make rules and get in the way of that connection. Because if they were true to the Creator, they would have showed you how to actually connect with Him a long time ago. And they know they had the information to do that. But they want to, again, go into the righteous ego. And they decide that they are superior. And this is the one thing, like many years ago, I was in front of I went into a Catholic church, and he's standing there in a white gown or whatever you want to call it. And he's like, I can tell you're not Catholic. And I said, yeah, you're a mortal, not bowing down to you. So, so that brainwashing didn't, affect me in any way in any religion. And it's just a persona that they put up there. I don't know if you guys know this, but the Catholic Church is the one. There was a father that made the Devil's Bible.
It was a what? Say that again. I'm sorry.
Devil's Bible. The Devil's Bible. And he, what I know about the story was it was created overnight. And this, you can look it up about the Devil's Bible.
Bible? Is that what you're talking about?
No, they call it the Devil's Bible.
The Devil's Bible.
There is the Devil's Bible, and it was a cardinal from Catholic Church. If you look it up, the true story about it, and how that overcame him, and how, I guess, overnight. And this thing is big. This is not a small Bible. It's huge. So we don't talk about it, of course, but those things, I think, they were corrupted long time ago. Long time ago. So,
and then we had all of the edits and elimination of books and so on that went on with the Nicaea Council, Constantine.
Yeah,
that's just another small part of it, really. But it was probably corrupted before then, even. And the names are interesting because there weren't no J's in those days, but they certainly are using them. There was a question here. Oh, this was a political question. I don't know what's going to happen after this Trump thing today. What Trump thing today is she talking about? I guess I don't even know.
Well, that's putting him in an isolation situation. So I want to explain something. And then when war begins, what is the first thing that the military does when war happens? They isolate their president and protect him.
Yeah.
So it's just the beginning. It's like the starting gate of the green light of that particular situation. Because, what's really funny is society, they're not really looking at the fact that viewing, well, you go back 5 years ago, that you're not seeing anybody. You're not seeing any of those people that were around in 2016. And you're just not wanting to pay attention that they're not here
anymore.
And they were very opinionated, and they were pushing their stuff. And that's just, so it's just how you decide to look at it and how society makes you occupied with other things. But if you go back, you're like, where are they? Why is it so silent? Why aren't we having the resistance we did back then? They're gone.
Wow. The other thing that they do is when tragedy like what happened in Maui, when things like that happen, they immediately throw something else out there to distract you from what's really happening there. I mean, there were people murdered. Same in Canada, where in supplies restricted, and I mean, it's just.
Oh yeah, they're good at pointing the finger, going, "That's the bad guy, not us. It's that bad guy." That's what they're good at doing.
Yeah.
But okay, you want to know their behavior? They're going to do the same thing they did in the past. They create fires. They dismantle businesses. They burn them down. It's all about dismantling. It's not about creating. It's about dismantling. It's about feeling in control of what they're doing. It's like a child that's not getting their way, so I'm just going to burn it down and cause chaos. That's their MO.
It's like a 2-year-old throwing a temper tantrum when they don't get their way.
Right.
So I'm not sure what she was referring to about what to say louder. Which part? I'm not sure. I kind of missed that one. My daughter's boyfriend. Okay. Well, anyway, if you want to elaborate on that question or that statement, please do so. Kevin seems to think that we're about ready to go into the 10 days of darkness. What do you say about that, Jenny?
I say it's in regions. I say that the internet is going to be up and down like this. I say the resistance will be put down more. You're going to see less power, less internet. And then the red states that are going to be complying and going towards this direction and accomplishing that, you're going to see less of a problem. I've always said that they're going to push the rats into the cities and they're going to filter them and then they're going to put them on the white buses and decide their destination or where they need to go. It's always been about cornering them and putting them in a certain area. And now they're not getting paid the way they were. And now the minions are running.
Oh, yeah. The minions are not getting paid either, I would think.
Yes,
right?
they're not.
So the thing that motivated them before is not working anymore.
It's not going to be 10 days across this world at the same way. It depends on the resistance. It depends on how fast the military can go through a town and make sure things are cleared out. And they deal with resistance. They're going to take down their power. They're going to take down their internet, their communication. Like they always do. They isolate, take their food, their water.
So what you're saying is like this might happen in the southwest area for a little while, and then it might move to the northwest, and then it might be in central. In other words, it's going to be sporadic.
Well, the military has to go from one end to the other. It has to clear everything out. That's what they do. In any type of war, they go from one side of a hazard area to another to make sure everything's cleared out. They're going to do the same. So they tell people when you're in the streets and you're seeing them in the streets, don't go and ask them all these questions. They're on a focus of a mission to get things done and do what they need you to do and stay in your house or whatever they need you to do, because they're already focused on what they need to do. And you have these people that, think they can be these Karens and come out and just play these games. And it's just not going to work for them. They are not going to tolerate it at all. They're not going to tolerate the looting either. I'm just telling you, it's a different.
They're just going to shoot people, are they?
Well, I guarantee you there's going to be some pretty wet people. And I've seen some of those wet guns, I call them, which are water.
Big water hoses? Or
Mm-hmm. Those don't feel good. Sting.
I bet you they can shoot you quite a ways away.
You really want to get down to it, get a bunch of manure trucks and I'll guarantee you they'll leave quick.
They did that. Where did they do that? They did something like that in
farmers do it too.
They're farmers, yeah. I think I don't know if it was the Netherlands. They were telling the farmers they couldn't do anything.
Right.
They went and dumped a whole bunch of manure on the
You are not dealing with
sane people.
Training people that they had in the Vietnam War. Those were true soldiers. These are not that type of soldiers. They are not healthy in that way. They are not strong in that way. They are not physically strong in that way. They are weak in the physical sense, and their mainly thing is behind a computer and thinking that's the way they can fight it. But when you're down in the streets, this is going to end up down in the streets, head to head. They're not going to win. I'm telling you, you're going to see veterans stand up in a different way you've never seen before.
I don't blame them one bit. I'm all in favor. They've seen enough.
They're ready to go.
You know, they sacrificed a lot.
Yeah.
And somebody's asking, do you still think that there's going to be a solar flash? Or I've heard
no.
Okay, I didn't think so either. I've heard the whatever flashes we're getting, those M-class things. That's what we're getting. So
right. No, I believe that's a 3D process.
Okay. Here's somebody. Kevin is saying that pressurized fire hoses do a wonderful job of pushing people back. I bet they do.
It does. They go
out.
out.
There's water pressure. Yeah. They don't get off the water.
Right. It works pretty well. Like China, and I think Japan has those too, and I've seen them. They shoot out pretty far. They can clear out a block pretty fast.
Christine says she has a huge pile of poop to donate. Okay, what about the EBS? That's another question.
I don't think it's going to be.
Is it going to happen or not going to happen? Or not necessary? Or?
Not in the way that people think it is. I think we need to get out of the process of things being in this a process of 3D, how things take forever to do. And I just think
they sure do.
A lot of things you're going to find out. You're going to find out that they've done so great things without right under your nose and already have it implemented in a very, very cool technique way that you would never have thought that everything, but they're smooth at what they do, the technology that they have, everything.
You're talking about our white hat military and the alliance, correct?
Yes. And
they're actually doing an awesome job. It's just not visible to people, so people think nothing is happening. But they couldn't do it any other way.
That's why I tell people, I go, you can have many people on these type of shows on YouTube. I've been around the military for like 23 years, and I know how it works. And when all 4 branches, well, 5 now, stand up to a podium and tell you exactly what's going on, trust me, it will be very direct. They do not need to go through any YouTubers. They don't need to present their information to anybody. They will not jeopardize the mission. So they have their own way of presenting the truth. And so the narrative will fall. All these people that say they're dealing with the military and all that, they do not tell you nothing.
Well, there was something else here. I was just saying hi to somebody that.
So at the time when that happens, they'll have everybody's attention on their own.
Well, don't the UN? Drake always used to say, "Well, the UN, the blue helmet makes them real easy to hit." Those are the UN troops with blue helmets.
Mm-hmm.
He says that jokingly, of course.
Right.
So let me take that one off. And the military has something called an active denial system, non-lethal for crowd control. It's like a radar that makes you feel like you're being nuked. Oh.
Yeah, they have advanced systems.
Yeah, very advanced.
Bring you to your knees. So yeah, it's.
There was a general that
you're going to see the advanced systems that they have on certain levels.
Somebody's having problems with their, if you're buffering bad, even after resets, if you're talking about the show here, it could be your internet provider. Sometimes they may have some sensor.
Yeah, I had that issue last week, and they couldn't even figure out. They're like, "This is unusual." I go, "Yeah, sure, not for me."
No, I was just going to say, not for me, not for Jenny. I don't even announce the show ahead of time to not give them a heads up right away so that they don't, mess with us. Anyway, it's been getting better lately here. Let's see. Must be over the targets. Yeah, really. It is. The ADS operates at 95 gigahertz with 900 kilowatts of power. What? Wow. Okay. Very interesting. Well, what do you have? What do you know at this stage of the game about the quantum financial system and where things are at in that regard? You know, everybody's wondering what's going to happen with all the banks closing, and
Well, we're already in the system. We're already there.
we're already there in the quantum financial system, right?
I told them my groups. I said, I think I just told them. I said, well, that's the whole thing about me. I have to wait for energy to shift to go into me and tell me that's an accurate situation, and we're already in it. And I got to tell you, I'm getting receipts from PayPal that says the quantum system. Yes.
From PayPal?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I'll have to look closer at my stuff.
I was shocked when I saw it. I was like, what? And that's what it says.
Oh, that's
So it
interesting.
has to go through that system. So the thing is when it's distributing time and those funds are available, the negative won't be able to access it. You got to understand that's the resistance is. They won't have that value they had before. They won't be able to control people in that way before. And they'll all have their own abundance and to exceed what they lived off before and have food and housing in the way that they need it. And so what that does is it dulls any intimidation or any threat that they have, because if they have everything met that they to live, and they have that met, the balance comes in, and then you work as a collective as ones. And I always said 3.5 years ago, James Rink show that the quantum system has its own conscience. It's a smart system in a different way. I just went, on Instagram, I went way back on some of my videos 3-4 years ago and listened to it. And a lot of it's applying now. I mean, I like to verify it. So it's sitting in that system now. And so that system, you have the bank's transition of them helping you get the money, but eventually they'll be gone. And then it's your personal relationship with that quantum system of how things are analyzed. And then you're going to have your wealth management tell you what you can do with your money and what would be the best outlook on that.
There are people that talk about getting a phone call and getting an appointment. Is that actually going to happen for everybody, or is that?
I believe everything, all your information is going to be at the banks, because that's the first one that's in line with the system. So it's not something that you're going to get a call. You're going to have to go to the bank, get the true information, call the number, and make the appointment. And I've talked to accountants. I've talked to CPAs that they're like, it's changing. I know that Bank of America was hiring a ton of people for the wealth managements.
I heard that too.
Yeah. So, and that's what I heard. So it's all resides in what you're doing. I mean, you can't really buy bad things with that money. It's not going to go through. You can't go buy drugs with it. Sorry, that's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And just it's going to reject that. I mean, so everything's observed. Everything is noted of what you're doing. So it's a futuristic understanding, but keeping things safe and not in the way the deep state wanted to control things. Like they call it the smart cities.
Okay. Oh, that's the most horrific idea that I've ever heard. It's like slave camps.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Hang on a second. Somebody's being very persistent. I cannot talk right now. I'm in a show. I'm in the middle of a show. I cannot talk. I'm sorry. can I hang this up now? I'm sorry. I should have shut my phone off. My mistake.
So anyway, I mean, like I tell people now that have the knowledge of knowing what's going to happen in a little bit, and there's certain people that have to hold the line and be strong in what they're doing and seeing beyond what everybody else can see. Those are the ones that I think were born here to hold the line in this time that we are in. So there are those ones that are strong in the strength, and they're not, these big idols or whatever. There's these independent people that are just evolving through their whole life of being strong. So those are the ones that are going to hold the line, and I think they're on this earth in very precise areas to be there to hold the line.
Yeah, I think
they do.
And I think certain people were called to certain areas as well, and moved there as a result to affecting the energy system. Linny from UK has a question for you, Jenny. She's asking, how has the Earth's energy changed this year, and what effects is it having on the people and animals?
Well, I said from the spring, I've seen the animals this year, they're in a calm state. They're in a knowing state. Trees are just like, I'm in a state where it's just completely green, and everything, every fruit, everything is growing and blossoming, and that the atmosphere will tell you when it feels like it's getting nutrients, and it's filling with clear air and clear water, and it's not dying. It's not. And so I'm seeing that where I live, and amazing trees, everything's blossoming and everything. So I think this spring and we're going through the summer, it has reacted in a positive way with blossom and nutrients and energy, where before there was very dryness, and I'm not seeing the dehydration stage. So I feel that this earth, in the way that I see energy, that I see in the air, there's certain like waves of energy that most people don't notice. That burst of energy that you're getting, you're feeling that outside, the warmness behind you, how the sun is reacting to certain things. Just like those, what they had in Maui. I want to tell you something. I want you to remember 9/11, and I want you to remember Yellowstone when it blew. Those people were standing in soot. They couldn't see their faces. They couldn't breathe in the air. Do you understand? I want you to compare what happened to Maui, to compare that type of fire, that you can't breathe in that. You know what I'm saying? You'd be choking a lot. So you have to do a comparisons, because I think on one island, on one side of the island, there was something else going on from the other side. And that's why I'm saying, look at things and analyze it a certain way. So in animals, there wasn't enough animals. Animal has a reaction when stuff happens. They have a natural sense of where they're going to go, where cooler temperature is, where to go. They're smart. There's animals there, but there was not what you would think. Birds would be flying out. You would see all kinds of animals going in different directions, and you didn't see that. So that's what I'm telling you. You didn't see Noah's Ark moving into the waters. So I'm just saying there's more going on there than what they've showed you and what nature reacts from in way things happen. You have to look at that. So this year's been different in some positive lights and good energy. But I also told you that I see this planet on how it shifts, and how everything's a shift, like a puzzle, and how islands will disappear. And I think we're kind of like doing the shift, and you're going to see stuff you haven't seen in a while up here in the ground and in the ocean. You're already seeing that these bigger animals and mammals that are appearing that you haven't seen. And like people are seeing giants on the top of the mountains there. They're seeing more of the Bigfoots. They're seeing stuff
The
in the ocean.
Sasquatch, yeah, has come out more. I've been hearing more reports about Sasquatch. People
Yeah, and
seeing Sasquatch.
I did a drawing on the giants and how everybody sees things like they're not intelligent beings and all that. And they, when I channeled the information as in how they used to talk.
Uh-oh, I think you froze.
Them, and they had things, and there's a lot that were under Antarctica, and I still believe that there's some in Salt Lake. So, and they come out at night, and they were saying, watch the ground, keep an eye on the ground, look how the openings are of the earth coming up, and you're seeing openings open a different way. So it's like what we've been taught is that this can't be real, and now we're starting to understand that everything we've been told that this can't be real is real.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah,
well,
somebody
I
was
did pictures on those giants and everything, and that they were carrying a device and all that stuff too. And I believe they're surfaced in a certain understanding now.
So they're asking, do you think we will have a crazy winter again? And is it the result of weather manipulation?
No. I believe it's going to be cold because I believe that we're going through a cleanse, to Earth has its own conscience in the way too. And like anything else, you want to cleanse it out. You want to get rid of it. You want to get rid of negative energy. I believe they're going to go through a cold winter. I do feel that. So that is accurate on that.
Do you have communication with the spirit of Gaia or Gaia, the Earth spirit?
Different ones. She's one of them that are part of that female energy through the universe. The first time I did a drawing on her, I saw the bark of a tree in this part, in a spiritual way of the bark that was important, and the way her eyes are, and the flowers were around her, and just a very beautiful soul. And I did a drawing on her, and I did a drawing on Nefertiti's too. So I believe that a lot of these stronger beings from the past are a collective together now, and I believe that she's that collective together.
Interesting. Okay. Pudwalker is asking, it says, what about those who do not trust the digital system? Will there be a tangible form tied to it as well?
I believe that that's going to take a conscience of looking at something different. Right. I believe being aware, but going through some type of training, classes, giving that out for free, organization in the community, making them feel calm about it, describing that. And I think that where that comes in, again, is with these financial wealth managers are going to bring understanding with that too. But I believe there's going to be like another type of group. They already know that this is going to be a hard process, especially for the elders, especially for the elder communities, and don't understand this completely at all. That would, I would definitely think that they're going to apply to that in a way of getting them to understand and not feel frustrated. So I do feel that will be a different type of corporation that helps that in a very humanity way.
Okay. Kevin said that Texas has been cooked to cinder at this point. We were pretty decent in spring, though. Now, I would like to mention that I have a friend who lives in Louisiana, and she says that right now, Louisiana, which is usually a very wet state, is being dried up seriously, and believes that they're gonna try to hit that area too, because it's an important port.
Right. That area, there's some corruption big down there.
Serious corruption, right?
Yeah, it's saturated. So yeah. So that's I think on one of my maps of water overtaking that to a certain level.
Yeah, I remember you said
Not
that.
being able to live there to a certain ground, and it may not come back ever in that level of water. So it may be dry now. There's something.
I should have just shut my phone off. I guess I'm gonna shut it off. Sorry. Just one of those days.
It is. So yeah, that's I think the biggest thing is finding in the chaos a new type of calmness. To understand, like I always tell people, look behind the plated glass, but don't react from it, because that's what that energy wants you to do.
Exactly.
You have the capability of getting through a lot of things. You've made it through the past 3 years. So now
Yeah, really.
you can make it through this. You have control of viewing things, making your own opinion of things, and holding the line. And that's the whole thing about this. And I don't know why in my site, I don't know why I'm not seeing this yet. And I'm talking about each podium of people. They're still kind of spread out doing their own thing, but they're not coming quite yet together and saying, let's all hold the line across this world. Let's hold the line, and the people and reaching out in the communities. And I'm not seeing that yet. I still see a lot of conflict, but I think that will change once the power and the internet goes down, because it's like, we have to think on our own. We have to process on our own. This TV and this internet's not there to suggest things. And it's like coming out of a detox. And then making simple choices and being more humble about things. I think literally is there's a song on YouTube that's called The One, and it's in a Jewish Holy Land. I put it on my but it's called One, and it's literally talking about humanity coming together as one, finally one, and I really believe that, because it's that hum of one together as a community, and not allowing anything to dissolve the happiness, because the happiness is what kills the negativity. If we go into happiness and taking care of compassionate people and animals, that alone kills the negative.
That's
that itself does
and
that.
we'll see more of that, because people will be in a situation where they have to help each other.
Yeah, they have to. And
we have to come together. I mean, it's just absolutely critical eventually. I mean,
yeah, like me, like for being a seer, like when I first time went to, these bigger cities and stuff like that, people are just walking around, all these bums. And for myself, I can't process like that. I had to go in them and see them, and saw that people can't see that they're not bums. You know what I'm saying? They're perfectly set their direction, and by recognizing one, just the eye contact is important. And so, but it's such a program to just dismiss it. It's a program that just dismisses it and has taught you to dismiss it. And just that eye contact of knowing that's an individual of a soul, it's important. So,
well, what about what do you think about people who have mental health issues going through this change, and frequently they put them on a lot of medications? What
Well, I don't think that's going to happen in the future because that's just to keep them spinning. I think I'd say the new type of psych evaluation with a new name, a new way they do things, they're going to run it a different way.
What
And
about medbed type therapy? Would that be a?
I would say that psychologically, actually working with that correctly with the criteria of the true people that are qualified for that, and looking at a person as an individual and not throwing them in a category.
Yeah, or label with a label.
In an individual situation and look at them in that individual situation instead of just throwing them in a category. Just like with anything else, I mean, they just, think one category, cancer is going to affect the same way, and it doesn't work that way. So looking at it in a different way. But we have to step back and fix the damage. The damage is bad. The damage of what we've done, the damage to society has affected almost to 3 generations. It's going to impact
From drugs or
just the society of they're younger. I mean, how they're affected. They're dealing with adult problems. When we were young, we didn't have those problems.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I didn't. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's like,
I get it.
So what I'm saying is they have to deal with this in a vast way, fast, that's effective immediately, and not something that's taken forever. They're very good at that. But something that impacts it quickly. Sorry, I have to let my dog out.
Well, yeah, one of the things that concerns me that I've heard of is that a lot of the as the pharmaceutical companies go down, so will many of the drugs that are up. In fact, they even had a warehouse that was found where there was intentional removal from the market of certain drugs and so on. And I was just thinking about that because I used to work in a mental health hospital, and I saw the number of different drugs that they put people on, and that can't just stop all of a sudden without some kind of
Have you seen the market? I got to tell you this. I was impressed because you're seeing more naturopathic, more oils, everything hitting the market in such a great way that I'm very happy with, and naturopathic, and just really open. People are talking about it. That's what I'm saying. Even that community on how they, they're very, very good at working with mental health because the way they're coming together and making sure everybody gets the information and shares the information and tries the product and gives reference to how well it works. Whole opposite of the pharmaceutical corporations, of really having the desire inside their self, their soul, to actually help. They're literally.
Well, their main motive is to make money. That's what the problem is.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, it is. But it's good to see the naturopathic side of really, like, this will sincerely help you. So that's what I
years ago. Yeah.
Rejoiceful to see that changing and finding a natural way of healing.
And they don't have to be called quacks and all that.
Lots of
went on. That's what they used to. I mean, back when I was practicing in nutrition and so on. If you, if you went outside of the narrative and promoted something natural, you were a quack. Many times. So,
right.
Thank God that'll be going away, and the people that were doing what they called quack work will be back doing. Will be doing what'll be the real helpful healing work. Okay, let's see. So somebody's asking, do you know when the grid will go down? I think we talked about that a little bit already, but
I think it's could be tomorrow. Could be. I look at things, like I said, in energy. When I try to force long process, it doesn't allow me to. And I really feel that it could be tomorrow. And I told my group earlier, I'm like, I don't even know. I'm surprised it hasn't gone down today, but this is how I interpret my information. And it's so strong right now. There's like nowhere to go from here except for that to happen. Do you understand? There's a checklist.
Yeah, we're kind of spinning the wheels at this point. We're not going anywhere.
There's nothing left but to do that.
Mm-hmm. This question is, Jenny, I don't know if you touched on it yet, but can you go over what you said yesterday about the money? Was it the QFS system you talked about or something else?
No, it was the QFS system.
And somebody had even said that to me, that like the reparations or some of the currency that is owed to us, it's there, but it's not released.
Well, that's the thing about it is this process, like, okay, all these programs, that's once it goes down, the true journalism is going to be here. Okay, you're going to be able.
You mean where they actually tell you what's really happening?
Well,
oh my gosh! Wow,
you see some
what a
true
concept.
journalism showing. You won't see all these people. They call them, product pushers, are just here, buy, and and it's just as the thing I've talked to you about, product pushing, fear, product pushing. You can push, you can ask them to donate and stuff like that, but I'm talking about the ones that are just like push.
The first thing that happens as soon as the show starts is they have 5 minutes of selling something before they even introduce the guest or say anything. I can't do that. I can't in my heart of hearts do that. It doesn't make me feel right, so I don't do that.
Much stress that does to people when they're like, I just want to get to the information and just throwing this crap.
Yes, I treat it like I treat it. You know how I feel when I'm watching somebody else's show. I don't like that either. So I just ask people if they'd please look at the products that are in the description, and if you can donate, please donate. But I don't charge. So if you can't do anything, you can't do anything. I understand.
Yeah, but I'm talking about there's a persona, product pushing, and fear. I'm literally telling you that it goes coincide. So that's the difference. There's, donations, and, you say it a couple times. We're talking, they're using what's going on in the world, and it's in a fear process and pushing it so they benefit from it. And I don't like that. And it's not noble to do that. It's wrong. And so I think those ones that are doing that, you're not going to see them again. They're not going to give them a platform to do that again. They're not going to let you be taken advantage of that way. And I mean, it's a manipulation. It's the same thing as what I call when the psychics go, you're cursed, pay for this, and I'll bind all this stuff.
Bait and switch thing, yeah. Oh, thank you, Ralph. By the way, I had to put that up there. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So
I try to come from how I would feel if I was watching something. So
well, you know what it does? It stresses people out. They feel stressed and they feel obligated in a certain way, and they're desperate for the information. But the thing is, there's a gate. Well, you want the information, you're going to have to get through the gate first. You
have to listen to this.
And that's the thing. And then maybe you'll get information and say like last 15 minutes of the show, and the rest of it is just, it wipes you out. You're exhausted and tired because to get to that information, and now you're like, that was it? That's all I got? And then the rest of it was these demos.
Somebody asked about pushing XRP, and I've seen a couple of videos like that too. So I didn't understand that. I don't have enough money to worry about that sort of thing. But I think what they were doing there was trying to get people to get XRP because it could be converted and go into the quantum system better than anything else. But don't quote me on that, because I'm definitely not a financial.
Yeah, I believe at the end of this, when you take an old system and pushing it into a new system that goes, I don't recognize that. Sorry. And that's why they told me silver and gold, and your hard metals and stuff, that's going to adapt to that. So, and that's what I've been telling everybody. Asks me, I'm like, I don't talk about XRP. I don't talk about the other one because I just feel it's not going to happen. I feel it's going to be those hard metals and the hard gold, and those are things that I think that are going to stay around, and then they're going to be mad because they're like, well, I lost all this money and this is not working in the new system. Yeah. So you're dealing with a new world, with a new standard, which is high qualified standards of what is worth something. And so all I have to say the word is you're going to find out.
Here's a good question for you. I did hear a long time ago that the quantum financial system does have a consciousness and can tell your intention. Is this true?
Yes, and I said it 3.5 years ago on James Ring's show, and I told him that, and I think at that time he looked at me like, "What?" I'm like, "Serious?"
Yeah, people have a hard time wrapping their head around some of this stuff.
I know, because, and they showed me in this dream of people standing in line 3.5 years ago, and I was like, okay, and this awning light with this voice, and they're saying, "Watch as one comes up and lies to the system and is denied on their intentions." I was like, wow. So I kind of just held that memory of that, and I put, I said it on Jane Rink's show many years ago. So they showed me it has its own conscience. It can't lie to it. You can't bullshit it. You can't, it's not, you're not going to, okay. So let me explain something to you. So some of the banks that, one of mine that I have to identify now, it goes by your frequency and your voice and how your tones and vibration. Okay.
Okay.
And that said, that system, because it's reading your soul, it's reading your frequency, it's identifying you by that. Just like the way I see people through, you know what I'm saying? So to me, that's completely normal. So that's why you're not gonna be able to do anything. You're not gonna get away with it. So if you're stepping up to the system and your intentions are really bad, denied.
You're not gonna get anything.
And spending the money and knowing where you're gonna denied. So it's like a lie detector, ultimate lie detector, and your intention's very pure and good and pure of light or giving, and that's the thing about the humanity projects. When everybody was talking about those coming out, and everybody thought, "Oh, this is going to be great," because they just think they're going to get the money, and they think they're going to do the same thing they did in 3D. It's like, no. Do you understand? There's guidelines, and again, we're going back to that conscience system again. And it's not about you. It's why are you doing this? What are you serving? How can you help humanity? They need to really understand that word, humanity, in this process. They're going to see right through it. Like the thing that I don't know if I talked to you about this. The thing that I want to do for humanity, because this is the burden I lay on my heart every day, is I know, because I do remote viewing, and I know how many cases are not solved because I can't get into areas and we can't go in there and dig those areas up to get those remains. And the Masons and some of them keep that so we don't find that information. And all I want to do is have a van that has all the tools I need in these areas. All I want to do is dig in the ground and bring those back home and be able to get in there and not have any people red tape and coming at you and saying you can't. And the heartache that those families have because it's red tape that's keeping these cases from being solved. And that's my biggest headache. And so I just want to, after this is over, I just want to dig in the ground for 2 years and find everybody. I don't care how dirty I look, but it's something that I want to do to make sure that they have their closure and knowing. It's just to not know where they're at and know that people know where they're at and they don't care. And I can't live with that. I got to finish what I started on a lot of these cases, and I can't get in there. And there's been to the point where I gave the location, I gave the whereabouts, and the next day they burned the building down or the house down. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, gee, they weren't hiding anything, were they?
Well, I've run into this a couple times. And the cops play stupid on purpose because they're taught not to do anything about it. And so
Wow, that's sad.
it is, and that's, people they think when they see missing persons and all that stuff, you see it and you move on, but you have to understand what they have to live through daily of not knowing. And there's case after case I'm running into left and right. And there's another one. It's a father, young father. And I've tried several times to get in this area. I've had friends and team to go over there, and they've been followed. And they are pushing them out of the town because they're afraid. Because guess what? It's the body, it's the drugs, it's everything else. So it's like pulling off the Band-Aid. So if you discover this, you might discover everything else. And we don't want that. We want to hide that. We want to contain that. And so I hate it. I hate the fact that it's that evil. It's evil.
It is evil. Well, there's a system that I hope to help at some point in time, because I also feel that a lot of emotional, psychological, and sometimes physical damage has occurred in people that have been incarcerated for longer periods of time than is even reasonable for crimes frequently that were overstacked or there isn't justice in the justice system. I don't know how else to say it. There's a lot of people that shouldn't be there. There's a lot of people that shouldn't be there as long as they're there. Not that there aren't people that there. But anyway, that type of, they call it institutionalized. The people get institutionalized and then they can't make it when they get on the outside. And there's no help when they get out.
Right.
They get a ticket and they've lost everything because they were in jail. They lost their place they were staying, their clothes, their car, everything. And then they're put back out and they're supposed to, with nothing, and they're supposed to be able to make it. It's set up for failure. It's really wrong. And I think there's things that need to be done to help all that. Because the ones that are good will be saved anyway. And the ones that aren't will just not be there anymore. That's the way I see it.
Right. Well,
asking you if all the narcissists will disappear.
Well, it's like a grid that goes down, and maybe they'll come down through their humanity process and the energy that comes to, all of that. I mean, to me, my attitude is all I need is 2 vans and equipment and 4-wheelers and all that stuff, and I'm going. And my biggest process is getting into the lands and allowing me to get into those lands and being able to have the families find their loved ones. So, I'm going to tell you, the native lands are saturated in those bones. It's heart-wrenching, and it's sad. But I hope that changes. So
that's terrible. Look what just happened. I mean, I can't imagine the pain, the emotional devastation that people in Maui are going through, and I guess they're going through it in Canada too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So pretty much, I think that's where we're at. So
Yeah, I'm just answering something on here. It's a money system. There's no doubt about it. Jail is a money system. And if you follow the money trail, there's a lot of money in it. And that's why it is the way it is in the United States.
Well, I believe that a lot of people that are in jail and shouldn't be in jail.
Exactly.
I believe in the corruption system, and I believe
They make
that
money
I
off of it.
hope they have retribution for that too, because I've seen it on that end of it too, and it's not right either. It's not right. So, yeah, it's another heart-wrenching situation. Yeah. So, but you know,
Things are changing.
Yeah.
Things
I
are
gotta
changing.
close up because I still have animals to check on and everything like that.
That's fine. That's no problem at all. We've already gone an hour and 15 minutes. So thank you so much for your time and energy. And thank everyone for listening and being here. And we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, they all know how to locate me. So
yeah, and I have in Jenny's website in the description. And I have all my stuff in the description too. So everything's there.
Oh, I'm hoping that the next 2 days will be shut down.
That would be nice, actually. It's crazy as it sounds, but okay. Take care, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Thank you. Namaste.
Bye. Stay in the light.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers, stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now, don't look back now. Rise up, stand with each other. We are sisters and brothers, finding our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and seize the moment. Hold on tight and don't let go of all your hopes and dreams that light the way. We control our fate. Destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide. We'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one